Hello and welcome. You're watching Left, Right and Centre. I'm Sarah Jacob. As President Pranab Mukherjee's term is set to end in July, a search for a suitable presidential candidate has begun. And on the show tonight, we're asking, can the centre forge a consensus? Now, the Modi government has formally begun its outreach with the opposition on the presidential election. Union Ministers Rajnath Singh and Venkaiah Naidu met with Congress President Sonia Gandhi and CPM leader Sitaram Yechury. So, is there a consensus on a candidate? Well, the Congress says that since the government came for discussions but placed no name of its nominee, there's no question of a consensus. But does the Modi government even need the Congress or the left in order to get its candidate elected as a successor to President Pranab Mukherjee? Take a look.
बीजेपी के नेताओं ने कांग्रेस अध्यक्ष श्रीमती सोनिया गांधी को कोई भी ऐसा नाम नहीं दिया, बल्कि उल्टा हम ही से नाम पूछने की कोशिश की.
In the present context, a person who occupies the office of the President of India must be a person of impeccable secular credentials. They said that they have not yet zeroed in on anybody. Now the general opinion that is going around is since they have the mandate, so therefore opposition should support their candidate. The names are all in public domain, what we are discussing. All of you are reporting, so that they know. So we had expected that they will suggest some name on which we would have seriously considered. But unfortunately, that has not yet come.
Amma is always certain views. She never supported the Congress and other group. And she is always friendly, she was always friendly with Mr. Modi and also the government, central government.
देशाचा प्रश्न आहे आणि म्हणून एक पहिलं मोहनजींचं नाव आम्ही सुचवलेलं आहे. त्याच्यावरती जर कोणाला अडचणी येत असतील तर दुसरं नाव आम्ही स्वामीनाथन यांचं सुचवलेलं आहे. हिंदू राष्ट्र ही ओळख जगामध्ये होण्यासाठी आम्ही मोहनजी भागवत हे नाव सुचवलेलं आहे. ती आमची पहिली पसंती आहे. पण मोहनजींच्या नावावरनं जर कोणाची काही अडचण होत असेल, कोणाला काही त्याच्यामध्ये काही कठीण गोष्टी वाटत असतील तर मग आम्ही शिवसेनेकडनं दुसरं नाव जे सुचवले ते स्वामीनाथन यांचं आहे. किसानों के लिए स्वामीनाथन जी का नाम मैंने आगे किया है.
So, presidential elections in India epitomized real politics at its very best. Who's going to come out on top to discuss this on the show tonight? Chandan Mitra, former Rajya Sabha MP of the BJP. In our Delhi studios, we have also joining us Pawan Khera, spokesperson of the Congress. In our Delhi studios, we have Rakesh Sinha, RSS ideologue. We'll also have MB Rajesh, Lok Sabha MP of the CPIM, and Aarti Jarath also in our Delhi studios here. Let's go across to Chandan Mitra first. Mr. Mitra, Mr. Naidu says that the BJP is talking to all political parties in the true spirit of democracy to evolve a broad consensus on the presidential nominee. Yet, he has, and I quote, appealed to the opposition that they go by the mandate of the people, which is for this government, he says. Is that a euphemism for it's our way or the highway?
No, not necessarily. But then we have to see how cooperative the opposition is. You must remember that there have been many occasions in the past in which some members of the opposition, some parties, have objected even to someone with so much consensus as Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. That year, even CPM did not agree to the name and put up Mrs. Lakshmi Sehgal, respected person, but without any possibility of winning, but just to create a kind of lack of consensus. So we need to see how the opposition reacts and whether they cooperate with the government or not.
All right, Pawan Khera, so the past will come back to haunt you. Clearly, this is for the first time that the BJP has an opportunity to get its own man or woman elected as the President of India. So we don't have Pawan Khera on the line there. So then let's just go across to Mr. Rajesh. Mr. Rajesh, let's go across to you. Can we have a consensus? This is really more than that. It's also just a chance to see whether we can actually have something called a united front ahead of the next general election, correct?
See, as far as the presidential election is concerned, we have always maintained that it is ideal that if there is a consensus between opposition and the government. And our only condition is that the next president should be a person capable of safeguarding our constitution and secularism. a secular voice should occupy Raisina Hills. So that is our condition. Subject to that condition or subject to that criteria, if there can be a consensus, that is very good. If there is no consensus between government and opposition, let there be a contest, and there can be a consensus between all opposition parties.
But how can you have a consensus? Is the opposition even united? Even right now, there seem to be cracks between you and the Congress. For example, there are reports that you would like the Congress to come out openly with its candidate, which they haven't till now. Also, there are reports that you, of course, will go in for an election. You prefer that to the Congress. Do you or don't you?
See, we are in the process of finding a consensus between the government and opposition. So we have no objection to a consensus provided the candidate is a secular person and capable of safeguarding the constitution.
All right, so that means
that happens, that is very good. If that doesn't happen, that doesn't happen, let us try for a consensus candidate for the opposition.
All right, and so on this, you'd be willing to work with the TMC also?
See, now we are in the process of having consultations to arrive at a consensus. At this stage, I cannot talk about it more.
All right, okay. Rakesh Sinha, let's go across to you. You heard Mr. Rajesh there, you heard Mr. Yechury. For the opposition, the boxes that need to be ticked in order to get a consensus candidate are that it needs to be a secular person, as they're putting it, or a non-RSS, a candidate with a non-RSS background. What would your response be to that?
I think presidential elections should not create a binary in this country. Unfortunately, as far as Congress is concerned, whenever the Congress had chance, it declared its candidate without any consultation. I am giving one example. In 1973, perhaps it was 73, when Fakhruddin Ali Ahmad was declared without consulting the opposition. So there was a broad unity in the opposition, Jana Sangh and Communists together, and the CPM supported a candidate who rebelled in the CPM Politburo, Tridiv Chaudhary. He formed a Revolutionary Socialist Party. So this is the history of left and Congress. I am coming to the left party. Look, APJ Abdul Kalam, Chandramitra rightly pointed out, he pointed out about the Congress left, that APJ Abdul Kalam, when he was a presidential candidate, the opposition of the left was that he cannot be a secular voice. This was the nasty arguments were given against the APJ Abdul Kalam, who proved himself one of the finest presidents of the country.
Refreshingly turned out to be different.
Second important thing. Second term, when there was a informal consultation to give him second term, the Congress rebelled against that. Congress said no. Sonia Gandhi vetoed against APJ Abdul Kalam. So the contempt for APJ Abdul Kalam, you can understand the reason for contempt for Abdul Kalam, because he believed in inclusive cultural politics in this country. They believe in exclusive cultural politics. He says the person should not be RSS. RSS is not something beyond this nation, something outside this nation. RSS man can be the Prime Minister, RSS man can be the Health Minister and the Home Minister, but RSS man cannot be the Prime Minister.
No, but are you saying especially now because the BJP actually has the numbers when it comes to the electoral college?
I am coming to that point. You know, the BJP ruling party, I am not professing the BJP, but here BJP got a moral victory over the opposition party. It started a consultation. If it comes with the name, there cannot be anonymity. Let the opposition say, opposition propose the name. If opposition wants the consensus, but this election, look, this is not unhidden, that opposition is trying to use the presidential election to fix Narendra Modi. They want to create presidential election for a broader unity in the non-BJPism and non-Narendra Modism. Is anti-Modism and non-BJPism are being experimented through the presidential election, which is most unfortunate. Kindly don't devalue this position. These left parties and the Nehruvian opposed whom? Dr. Rajendra Prasad. When the first election of presidency was, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, Nehru was opposed. He wanted Rajaji as the president of the country. Second term, Nehru was very, very contemptuous for Dr. Rajendra Prasad. So the history of the left faction of the Congress, which is the Nehruvian tradition, and the left parties, they have contempt for the Indian culture, Indian society, Indian civilization. So a person who is Eurocentric, they would prefer. The person who doesn't talk about the Indian culture, Indian civilization, cultural and intellectual legacy, they are the secular. Those who are talking about the cultural legacy of the country, Veda, Purana, Upanishad, they are not the secular. This is the definition of the left. That's why they are marginalized, day by day getting marginalized. They are not ready to rethink.
So this is not just political dice that's being played, it's also an ideology, Aarti. I'll come to that, but also we talked about history here, right? Political tit for tat is not new in our country. But why should the BJP, when it has a chance for the first time to elect its own man or woman, its own person as the president of the country, not go ahead and do that?
Absolutely. I mean, if they have the numbers, they should, and they probably will. And, you know, this is not the first time that the presidential election has become a political football, or that the politics has been played. I mean, in virtually every election that we have had, we've seen politics at play. And, you know, the biggest one being in 1969, when Indira Gandhi put up a candidate against her party's official candidate, you know, just to marginalize the old guard in the Congress. And of course, after that, the Congress split. So, I mean, this has happened again and again, and I don't think there's anything unusual about what's happening right now. It's very much a part of the thing. And I think every ruling dispensation uses the presidential poll as a show of strength. And if the BJP has the numbers today, certainly it will use this presidential poll to as a show of strength, to show that it has the numbers, and it will put in a candidate of its choice.
All right, let's go across to Pawan Khera. We're glad you can finally join us, because there has been a lot of finger pointing at the Congress. Let me just bring you up to date. What the BJP, what Mr. Mitra has pointed out, what Mr. Rakesh Sinha has pointed out is that in the past, the Congress has not gone in for a consensus. As you did with Pratibha Patil, as you did with Pranab Mukherjee, you decided on your candidate and then you announced it to the opposition. Why should this government be any different, especially when they have the numbers?
Absolutely. Let them come up with a name. They come and seek consensus without giving us any names. Now that's funny. It's bizarre. And Mr. Rakesh Sinha was singing praises of their choice of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, who of course was one of the best presidents we've had. But we all know under what circumstances Atalji had to choose APJ Abdul Kalam. Because Atalji failed to implement the Raj Dharma in Gujarat. He had to do this. He had to go in for a Muslim name, Muslim face. We all know this. We know the truth of what they did. They used Abul Kalam ji.
Nothing.
And Mr. Sinha says that Abul Kalam ji...
Chandan, hold on. Let Pawan finish and then I'll come across to you.
He has no idea about history. It was Mr. Abul Kalam ji. It was Mr. Abul Kalam ji who refused a second term. He has no idea, or he feigns ignorance.
Sonia Gandhi,
so why did you...
Let them come with a name.
Kheraji, don't
How else can they build...
Pawan, so why did you not re-elect?
I don't know the interpretation is coming
Why did you not
from
go in for a
it is not
second
a
term
New
for
Delhi
APJ
history.
Abdul Kalam?
It is
Instead, you
history.
put in Pratibha Patil.
Ask people who know better than me. Mr. Abul Kalam refused a second term.
No, sir.
He said
Because
he
there was
agrees
no
he's a
consensus.
consensus
There was no
candidate.
Pawan Khera, you are unaware of the history.
No,
We are
Rakesh, hold on.
No, that's incorrect.
Don't show your ignorance.
Mr. Sinha,
Don't show your ignorance.
Pawan, Rakesh, hold on. Please don't talk over each other.
They tailor history.
He's giving
Their
wrong
thing
interpretation.
is that they
Sonia
tailor
Gandhi
history to
did
what
not
suits them.
go and read newspapers.
I challenge them.
Pawan, hold on. Hold on a second.
RSS was opposed to Mr. Abul Kalam.
Oh.
Even the RSS had opposed Abul Kalam ji.